Do you think evangelism has a future at all? And what I mean by that is I just read an article that polled some young adults, and they feel like it's wrong to evangelize to people. So what are your thoughts on that? What would you say to that?
I think from the world standpoint, this is when somebody's got an opinion, somebody else's opinion is equally valid, and I shouldn't really try to say, oh, you're wrong, or judge them, based on that. But evangelism really isn't a Christian thing, it's a God thing. It's his invitation to you and I to participate with him, to share the hope of coming into relationship with God, to be reconciled with God. And he asks us to do that. So he always does what's right. And, he's provided a way for us to get reconciled with God or to become part of his family forever and ever. And he gives us the privilege of participating with him. I like the illustration, there's not 10 ways to heaven or 5. It's like if somebody's on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship and he falls overboard and he's going under for the 3rd time, and somebody throws a red life preserver to him and splashes down in the water next to him, and the guy goes, well, I don't like red life preservers, I wanted a yellow one. You go like, take the life preserver, don't ask about what color, God didn't have to make a way to get into heaven. He could have had 0 ways, but he made a way. And it's not 10 ways or 5 ways. There's one way through Christ Jesus, and that is our only means to come into Christ. There's no other name under heaven by which we must be saved. And so because that's an incredible way that God allowed us to get back in right relationship with him, we want to talk about it. So I think absolutely evangelism has a future, because it's just telling people like, hey, you can become part of the family of God, and here's the way he made for you to do just that. Okay,
so playing devil's advocate here from a younger perspective, and I want to read this question. I want to make sure I get it right. So what makes my faith right and their faith wrong? What would you say to that?
Yeah, and because there's one God who's sovereign over all the universe, the question is how are we in relationship to him? So I think you answer that question in the sense of who is God, and how can we approach that loving, caring, mighty God, and he made that way to do it. So what makes something right or wrong? Like if you wanted to go east to New York City and I sent you west, you're really missing the mark. You're going the wrong direction to get to New York City. And what makes something right or wrong? If I give you right directions, I'm sending you in the right direction, the right highway to get to New York City. And other roads obviously don't lead to that place. So I think it's that simple. Is God made a way, and we don't want to disagree and argue with the Father that, well, I don't like that way. We got to humble ourselves and catch some of our own arrogance that we have our opinions that are maybe contrary to how God, in his love, made us an opportunity for us to get right with him.
So let's say you have somebody who's in a Muslim country, grown up, they've lived that, they serve Muhammad just the same way as a person grew up in a Christian country. They serve Jesus all their life, but they've never really questioned. What would you say to that person, I guess, in that sense?
Yeah. I usually ask people, like, what would it take if there was a God out there and a way to get to know God? What would it take for you to really believe that? And I usually come down with 2 answers from people. One is he'd have to show up in person and reveal himself to me. And I said, that's a good answer. And secondly is I would want to see his God's power, I want him to do some incredible miracles or something to really prove himself to me. And Jesus Christ did both of those. He took on the clothes of humanity, though fully God, and he appeared among us, walked among us for those 33 years and revealed himself. And he did all kinds of amazing miracles to say he's God's man, And there's a lot of people that claim to be the way and the person, but I think as you look at the uniqueness of the character of Jesus Christ, this sinless nature, he never sinned, that he always acted as love, he was totally others-oriented, the amazing miracles he did, and the biggest one, his resurrection from the dead. There's evidences, there's proofs to say this is God's man, and his invitation to humanity is for every man, woman, and child on planet Earth. So even though somebody is believing something else that may not be accurate from a biblical standpoint, God always has that opportunity. He's not going to cast them out and say, well, you blew it for all those years. He says, come to me. All are wearied and heavy laden. I'll give you rest. But that way is through his revelation in Jesus Christ, God's Son.
You're almost like saying, the Lord's like, try me if you want. Try me and allow me to show myself to you.
Yeah, and he's given ample proof that he is who he said he is, Jesus Christ, that he's fully God, fully man.
That question resonates with me because when I was in my 20s, I had to ask myself, how do I know that Jesus is the one true God? Because I've grown up in a Christian home and I've been in America all my life, so I don't know anything any different. But one of the things I did was I tried the Lord. I said, okay, I'm going to try you, but I'm also going to read up about you. I want to see in everything that you stated right there, I feel to be true for me. So thank you. Thank you for that.
I'm Bethany, and at Grace Church, we're all about equipping the local church to love Jesus, grow with others, and serve the world around them. Want to go deeper into this topic? We've got a free bundle of resources for you. The free download includes 2 videos that show what it might look like to apply what you're learning in real conversations, plus a printable PDF workbook for you to study the biblical topic of evangelism further. If you're a church leader, these 3 tools can help you engage with your congregation on this topic, but you don't need to be on staff at a church to get access to these free resources. It's for anyone. Just click the link in the description, fill out a quick form, and the download will be sent directly to your inbox. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to get instant updates when our next videos are posted, be sure to hit that red subscribe button.